Hi everyone, Father Leo Paddlinghug here with platinggrace.com. In this month of August, we focus a lot on the Blessed Virgin Mary. First, on August 15th, we celebrate the dogmatic proclamation Munificentissimus Deus by Pius XII, which declares, defines, and proclaims that Mary was assumed not just in her soul, but in her body to heaven, as a foretaste, a prefiguration of what it will be like for us in the resurrection of our own bodies. You see, it's not just our spirit that is supposed to go to heaven. Jesus himself went up to heaven in what is known as the Feast of the Ascension of our Lord into heaven. And a lot of people wonder, well, that's Jesus, it's in the Bible, but what about Mary? Is it written in there that her body was taken up to heaven? No, technically not. There's no actual citation in the scriptures, but there's a lot of references. I mean, even Elijah was taken up into heaven. And if Elijah, the great prophet, was taken up into heaven, how much more for the one who gave birth to Jesus in her body? You see, this for us as Catholics isn't really something you have to prove. It's just something you have to logically follow. If Mary did God's will, not just in her mind and in her spirit, but also did God's will in her body, then why would not God redeem all parts of Mary? You see, the dogma Munificentissimus Deus that proclaims Mary as a woman assumed into heaven by the merits of her Son, Jesus the Lord, who promises us a bodily resurrection. We have to see that this is just common sense for people who believe in Jesus, for those who have not only lived with him, but were willing to die for him. Jesus is going to fulfill his promise. And so in the octave of that feast day, after 8 days after the Assumption, Pope Pius XII also proclaims the queenship of Mary, that she is truly the queen, not just of earth, but also the queen in heaven. And where do we get that? Well, again, that's just common sense. Because if Jesus is the Prince of Peace, who is the King of Peace? Well, that would obviously be God the Father. And then how do you get this prince but with the queen? And so Mary is the Queen of Heaven by the merits of her Son Jesus. And so on this month when we celebrate the Blessed Mother in very particular ways, I just want to invite you to consider how you make her a part of your prayer life. We're not supposed to worship Mary, and I'm grateful that no Catholic I know does, but we revere her, we reverence her in the same way we would revere a reverend, that way we would revere our parents, the way we would revere our pastors, our pope, our bishops. You know, what we have to do is understand that there is a big difference between worshiping something and reverencing them. And so I just ask you, how do we reverence the Blessed Mother in your life? It's a great question to have, because I can only imagine that if we ever get to heaven by the merits of Jesus Christ, he's going to say, are you truly part of my family? And then he will ask, have you been born again by the Spirit, who Mary incarnated? And it is in a way that baptismal font where we are truly born again, and we become not only God the Father's child, we also become mama's boys and mama's girls, just the way Jesus was, who reverenced his own mother to the point where he took her up to heaven because she created a home for him on earth. He created a home for her in heaven and crowned her the Queen of Heaven. Hope this helps you in your devotion to our Blessed Mother. Stay hungry for God, and God bless you.